All right. So I want to deal with this fight that's going down. The date is for tomorrow. So I don't really know what's going on here. Okay. I work hard Monday through Friday. And this is one of those weekends where I just don't know what's going on. So I need to find out when the actual time, the start time is myself. But it's dated for tomorrow, the 28th. And I don't know if I believe the stats. Okay? I believe the reach difference between Loma and I think it's Alexia. And it's a significant reach advantage for Alexia. The height is allegedly 5'1" for Loma and 5'4" for Alexia. But it just didn't look like that big of a difference. But if the reach is true advantage for Alexia, then, that's an advantage for her. When it comes to Loma, I think there's always a chance that she loses just because she's a blown up atom weight. Against most opponents, I think it's always a chance that she loses. And especially with like a wrestler grappler. So I think there's a good chance Loma loses this fight. Okay. That said, she's once again the far superior striker. It's hard for Loma to be in a fight where she's not the superior striker. But it's like striking that comes from an atom weight. So the fact that, she's got short arms and she's little, it makes it easier for her opponents to deal with her striking. If you're just this little tiny thing and you got top-notch striking, well, you being tiny, it's going to work in my favor, even though I'm not as good of a striker as you. And I know that Alexia is not as good of a striker. And basically, UFC is bad for Loma. I think she would be more of a star in one. If I'm not mistaken, they got an atomweight division. She'd be on the level like Stamp. Maybe have a title. And, comparatively, I don't think Stamp does that bad, as far as making a living, making money. But who knows? Maybe Loma, when the money translates. So I'm not mistaken, she still lives in Thailand or somewhere over there. Maybe it translates to her making more money. But in any case, it seems like UFC don't like to promote fighters. I don't think they handle her well. Because I think this is a bad matchup for Loma. It's a bad matchup. You got a chick who's, they're always bigger for the most part. Her opponents are always bigger than her. But who might be stronger and who wants to wrestle. It's going to take you to the ground. Now, Loma is actually not that bad on the ground. Here's the thing. That's the thing. She's not that bad on the ground. She took down a number of wrestlers. Even Denise Gomez. Remember, a big reason why she won that fight is because of her ground game. She kept taking Denise down, especially in the second and third rounds. Gomez couldn't deal with her on the ground. So on the ground, it's not a guaranteed win for Alexia, but I really don't know who wins this fight. I don't. But I'm gonna take Alexia. I'm gonna take Alexia to win. Right? Hasn't she only lost once? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, one loss. One loss. And why do they keep including these canceled fights, man? Stop doing that. Okay, she's 12-1. 5'4", and said to have a 67-inch reach. Loma, I think, is 61. 67 for Alexia. 61 for Loma. So, yeah. But the thing is, Alexia is a horrible striker to me. She walks in, throwing these haymakers, right? These wild winging punches. She's not really a good striker to me. But she does throw hard strikes. I'll give that to her. Like when she throws, she has an overhand right that she likes to throw. If Loma gets hit with it, she might get hurt. But I don't think Loma's going to get hit with it, Loma might get hit. She always gets hit. But I have a lot of confidence. Remember, she fought Bruna Brazil. She beat Molly McCann. And look at that. Was her last fight. Wait a minute. Okay, March of this year. She fought Bruna Brazil. Because I watched the fight on YouTube. And she lost. That was her only loss. So who knows? She might get... And she got submitted. She got guillotine choked in that fight. So she can get submitted herself. And again, Loma's not that bad once she gets on the ground and gets going. So, yeah. Either fighter can win. It's more like a 50-50. I look at it as more like a 50-50 fight. Especially if the height difference is not that significant. Which it didn't look like it was at the face-off. Right? But the UFC, man, I don't think does Loma's career much justice. Her whole career, she's been fighting nothing but unranked fighters. She, I think, has fought more unranked fighters than anybody. If I'm not mistaken, her whole UFC career has been fighting unranked fighters. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Who fights 9 unranked fighters? And I think that's the plan for her whole career. And generally, if you're an unranked fighter and you are on a 2-fight win streak, there's a good chance you'll at least get the number 15th ranked fighter. Here, she is on a 4-fight win streak and about to fight another unranked fighter. If I'm not mistaken, okay, let me check. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. In fact, it's Loma who's ranked. This is insane. Why is Loma fighting down Oh, wow. On a you're on a 4-fight win streak. You're number 14, and you're about to fight an unranked fighter who's only won one UFC bout on a 4-fight win streak. That has to be one of the longest win streaks in the division. Okay. Maybe Loma reached out, said, I need a fight. I need a fight. And maybe they said, we don't have anybody. Everybody's booked. And they got around, maybe they offered her an unranked fighter and she just took it. Like, the only thing we have is an unranked fighter. Loma's like, yeah, I'll take it. If that's not the case, man, please. They should have turned this fight down. Wow. But okay. We'll see how she does. Now this other fight. Luana Carolina against Michelle Montage. I've never tried to pronounce her name. She's 6-0. Okay, she's 6-0. You don't say. I'm not going to Sure Dog. And I'm getting tired of Tapology. Be honest. Okay, a submission specialist. Haven't watched any of her fights. She has stopped all of her opponents. As a professional, she's stopped all of her opponents at 6-0 by submission. So that's interesting. And she's fighting Luana Carolina. I'm taking the newcomer. Yeah, Carolina, she can get submitted. You know, she has the stuff to win the fight. Don't get me wrong, Carolina. And she might. Who knows? I haven't watched this chick. But based on the record, man, I would take the newcomer. So we'll see what happens there. There are some other fights going down in October. I think this fight between Manon Fiorot and Jasmine is going to be such a bad fight for Jasmine. I think this is going to be another one of those fights where she just gets beaten up. Yeah, I seriously think that. I really don't think there are that many girls who can muscle Manon around. I'm sorry. I just don't. Okay, when is that? October 18th. They're on the main card. And, yeah, I think Jasmine's going to get beaten up once again. I think she's going to get kicked in the face and she's going to get kicked everywhere, punched. I think she's going to go for takedowns and Manon's going to stuff them. And if she gets her down, Manon's going to get back up, get her against the cage. Manon's going to reverse her. Now look, Jasmine looks strong. She's in good condition. But I just see a different level of strength from Manon. Right? And Manon just lost. And I don't think Manon likes to lose. I don't. I think she's like Wei Lee, where she takes a loss, she takes it seriously and bounces back. I think she also had or lost her debut bout as a professional, like Wei Lee. Then had a win streak after that, like a long win streak. So that's one of the fights I'm most looking forward to on the same card. Melissa Croden, Thainara Lisboa. I'm going to take Croden. But, of course, Lisboa has a chance. Another thing with Croden, her age, I think, is going to work against her. Her age is going to work against her, if it hasn't already. Because she's 34 years old. 34. In my opinion, you're at your physical prime at an earlier age. And what a lot of fighters don't do, they don't prime skill-wise until they're in their early mid 30s. But they're out of their physical prime at that age. And, we'll see. We'll see. But at 34 in MMA, you're kind of up there. These athletes tend to get out of the game relatively early. I think they average around their 40s. Holly, I think, is done with MMA, but I don't know. She has had a boxing match. She has had a wrestling match or jiu-jitsu or something, type of grappling match. But, Croden has never really been fast. But at 34, you're getting up there. That's all I'm saying. And I think MMA is more of a young person's sport. And it's best to be highly skilled at a young age. Sort of like what we saw with Joanna. I think Valentina was the same way. She had impeccable skill at a very young age. You see fighters like Cyborg who prime skill-wise later in their career. Nunes took a few L's. It was earlier in her career, right? For whatever reason, a lot of fighters don't peak. They don't prime skill-wise at the same time that they're at their physical prime. But her only loss, I think, is against Cavalcante, who's a top-notch striker herself. Okay, so I don't view that as really a big deal. That's not her only loss. What I'm talking about, she's 6-2. It's her most recent loss, not her only loss. She also lost a split decision. Evelyn Martins, I've never seen her fight. Again, she stopped all the fighters that she defeated. And I think that's why the UFC reached out to her. UFC loves closers, even more so with women, because of their low closing rate. Also on that card, Stephanie Luciano, the baby-faced assassin. I haven't looked at any film. I work too much. I work way more than I used to when I first started this channel. I work more now than I ever have in my life. Okay? That is 12 hours a day. I'll be lucky if I only work 10, for the most part, 12 hours, and I just get Saturday and Sunday off. It is taxing on my body and my mind. And a lot of times, I need Saturday to just rest all day. and I don't feel good until Sunday, till it's time to go back to work. I think there's another fight that piqued my interest, or maybe not. I think another bantamweight making their debut, or has she already fought? Beatrice Mesquita. Is that her name? Yeah, she's making her debut. Mesquita fighting Irina Alexia, that crazy chick. A lot of these chicks are very crazy. And I think that's it. No more. Well, wait a minute. Okay. Yeah. I think that's just about it. There's not much going on in the next 4 weeks. Oh, I forgot about this one. Veronica Hardy against Brogan Walker. I take Veronica Hardy. Brogan Walker, I think, is a horrible fighter. That girl's just horrible. Macy Chiasson, Yana Santos. That should be a decent fight, maybe. Okay, as long as there's a potential to stink up the joint, please don't do that. Don't do that. At bantamweight, I think the fighters at bantamweight should look at that division as an easy division to get a title shot. Yeah, do that. Do that. Because I think it is. You know? Easy. Pena, she needs to retire or something. But she's already fought. She ain't fighting no time soon. Getting for the title. What we got here? You know what? Bantamweight is the worst division, but it's got some life. It's doing something. It's doing some things. They just signed, I think, 4 new fighters, right? 4 new fighters. All right, let's give them. I'm gonna give them a chance. I'm gonna give them a chance. I'm not gonna go, and they currently have some relatively new fighters, so they've been doing some things for a little while, and it might amount to something. We'll see. Now I thought, okay, Lisboa is not ranked. I don't know why I was thinking that she was ranked. Lisboa's not ranked. Misha Tate, are you kidding? Okay. Cavalcante, I think is about to fight Mayra Bueno Silva. No, yeah. From the boy, Silva's gonna get. That's a bad fight for Silva. They know Silva struggles with, good strikers. This is a good striker with a reach advantage. They're setting Silva up. They want Silva to get beat up now. Horrible fight for Silva. That's a good fight for Cavalcante. Good for her. I'm going to definitely take Cavalcante in that fight. And, that's all I got.